Do you miss CSGO? Yeah, I kinda do too. A lot has happened in its 11-year lifespan, but how much of it was good or bad? Did some changes ruin or improve the experience? If you weren't there, do you want to know what it was like? Well, I'm here to show you today by going through its evolutions and showcase a version of the game year by year. How did I obtain these versions is something I cannot tell, lest I want to invoke the wrath of this platform, so don't even ask. There is a lot I want to show you and talk about. Let's go. August 21st, 2012. CSGO just released, and it's rough. Before I elaborate, let's see what it has. Main menu and UI are alright, it's still running on the source engine after all. In-game graphics were also not the worst. In typical Valve fashion, it isn't 100% realistic, rather stylized to a degree. Although the monochrome colors and a lot of the designs are something people were not fond of. Not because it borrowed from the military shooter trend at the time, more so it went against what previous installments looked like. Plus, this simply didn't bode well with visibility. In terms of content, it had a matchmaking system starting with only 4 game modes. Arms Race was gun game made official with only 2 maps. Demolition was new with its own set of 6 maps, a very forgettable game mode. Get a kill to upgrade your loadout next round and best out of 20, wow. Casual we know, and competitive didn't have a rank system yet. Maps are a selection of classics. Some, like Dust, received a visual overhaul plus layout changes. Others, like Italy, remain aesthetically the same, while changes are not as substantial. A slew of new weapons, some replacing old ones like the P2K and M4A4, another unfavorable change. The rest were welcome additions. Now, none of this is exactly awful, except for the one core component integral to CS. Movement and animations are okay, but hit detection and shooting are the worst I have ever experienced. Feedback is just lackluster, and I don't know where my bullets are going. Even if they hit, the blood splatter is so big and the enemies don't flinch at all, as if we never learned anything from before. Other things, like the Molotov, are completely busted. I get development for this game were a rather bizarre set of circumstances. Making a sequel to this franchise are big shoes to fill. Unfortunately, CSGO stats showed faith in its success and future were low, to say the least. Fortunately, Valve were determined to prove us all wrong. 1 year later, August 2013. On the surface, it doesn't look like a lot has changed. UI has gotten some updates, in-game visuals can still be foggy, and game feel is mostly the same. Now let's get into the details. Molotov/incendiary are less of a pain by exploding in the air, while smokes now extinguish them. Still expensive to buy, but not broken anymore at least. The addition of player model staggering animations when hit really helps with that missing visual feedback. Competitive mode now has the skill groups we all know, and a lobby queue system, plus many other fixes and quality of life improvements, like queuing with friends, so matches can be played in a more normal and stable manner, because before, there were issues with people just leaving and the rest would have to be played against bots. Deathmatch is a new old game mode. Remember when getting the bonus weapon respawned you to full health? Decoy price reduced and got turned from a hideous and out-of-place object into a fake flashbang. Alright, we got new maps. Vertigo came back in possibly its worst iteration ever. Then Monastery, a completely original arms race map I am a big fan of still. Assault is back. Well, technically it was supposed to come during the beta. Anyway, it's here and looks relatively the same aside from a few layout changes to help with balancing. A later update brought Militia, and once again, visuals are similar to the previous iteration with some balancing. There's more to this game mode. Hostages are now carried instead of following, and only one saved is necessary to win. This was a huge improvement for enjoyers of this mode. And Mirage has been made official with a fresh new facelift. Yeah, it's about the same as we all know it, aside from some textures and gameplay improvements. Lastly, the first ever operation happened, which I am not going to elaborate on. I have a whole video about them that you should watch. Now, there were more significant things like GoTV, Overwatch, and Map Workshop, but they don't directly impact the base game experience. What does impact are nerfs and buffs to weapons plus map updates, but again, there are so many, it's not feasible to mention all of them in these short segments. Overall, not a bad year of updates, even though majority of it was implementing missing features and fixing broken ones, still a long way from winning people over. I understand going from August to August is a bit weird instead of an entire year, but bear with me, it makes sense. 2014, starting with a very big update in late 2013, everyone's nostalgic Scaleform 4.2 UI. Compared to the previous version, it's not all that different, but definitely cleaner. Infamous Arms Deal update that added skins, and the return of USP plus M4A1S. After so much public outcry, we got what we wanted, though personally I still wish the weapons were remade instead of coexisting. Anyway, the eye shielding animation for flashbangs was added. This was pretty necessary to finally know if you managed to blind someone. The first major, DreamHack 2013, happened, with Fnatic taking first place. 8 secondary throws were added, giving another dimension to throwing. CZ75 Auto released as a replacement to the P250, and becoming the most powerful pistol in the game. Stickers and Sticker Workshop came out, Katowice 2014 major happened, with Virtus Pro winning, then later ESO Cologne where Ninjas in Pajamas won. For operations, there was Bravo, Breakout, and Phoenix. Only new maps are Cobblestone, a classic favorite, and Overpass, a completely new one. These were initially added as bonus to Operation Bravo, but remained permanently. I think it was intentional. Well, Desolans, how's the game overall now? Slightly better. Many updates during this period were spent on fixing how skins work and managing the new inventory system, then the many additions to GoTV and demos, but let's not discount the large amount of map updates featuring bug fixes, improvements to balance, and most importantly, visibility. It's noticeable how there's less fog and bloom. Everything looks way more sharp. On the other side of the coin, community wasn't really impressed because of the focus on cosmetics. I was there, and many people were saying CS has been ruined, and this is the end. Emotions aside, stats showed slow but steady player growth. Before we move on, cash was also made permanent in the map pool, but it wasn't specifically mentioned anywhere, so that's why I missed it. Not my fault. 2015, same UI, so nothing to show there. Anti-wallbang update made doors into thick metal and surfaces across other maps less penetrable. Zeus got a price reduction and was finally allowed in competitive. Music kits are a new cosmetic, pins are new too, though only obtainable by redeeming the code from the real things. CZ auto nerfs and slot replacement moved to Tech 9/57. Arms race got some improvements. Friendly fire has finally been turned off, score leader now glows red, knife level reduced to 16, requirement for weapon upgrade is now 2, and acquired some maps from Demolition. Speaking of which, it got short dust. Train has been reintroduced with a complete makeover, breathing new life into it. Fundamentally the same map as before, with some much needed layout updates. New operations were Vanguard and Bloodhound introduced profile ranks and overhauled the drop system. DreamHack 2014 with NIP winning again, ESO Cologne Katowice 2015 with Fnatic taking the trophy. All other updates were more of the usual. Sadly, not that many new features. Nonetheless, with all of the small optimizations and polish, I can safely say the game feels right. All of my complaints about game feel are now gone, and it only took them 3 years. I don't know if I can exactly explain, but it feels like staggering animations are slightly different and blood splatter doesn't look the same, especially with those bright dots in the center. From here, it gets better. Even more people will start joining in as CSGO overtakes its predecessors. 2016, player animations and hitbox update. Now this is familiar to how we know player models behave. More realistic and punctual, less goofy. Later, more sounds to footsteps and player model were implemented. Half-time all voice chat has been removed. It was a toxic feature, but a fun one we all miss. Revolver update. Yeah. In the same update, AK-47 and M4s got recovery speed reduced to encourage tap shooting. This backfired and got reverted, thankfully. Pistols got their running accuracy reduced to lessen the strength of eco rounds, and that is good. Competitive matchmaking times are now 155 and 40 seconds for the C4. Team Envious won DreamHack 2015 Cluj-Napoca, and later Luminosity won MLG Columbus 2016. First-person glove models got an HD rework, pins made purchasable in-game, Operation Wildfire took place while simultaneously introducing Nuke Revised. This was the second map deserving of a much-needed remake, also in the process becoming the most autistic movement bro map. Now, I want to make a point about something. Remember when I said a minute ago it gets better? I honestly think this was the worst period in CSGO history. Skin gambling controversies all around the internet and real world, all while the most ever cosmetics got introduced, plus the revolver. People were really not happy.
God, Gaben, you suck so much penis at making video games.
That aside, thanks to the new animations and hitboxes, game feels slightly better. Everything else is about the same. 2017. Rounding off the rest of last year, weapons got the new sounds we all know today. In retrospect, the old ones are tinny and not as punchy, definitely an improvement. More player animation updates related to crouch and landing recovery now being tied with stamina to prevent spam. Graffiti cosmetics are new, people mostly didn't and still don't like them, so who cares? The beautiful Inferno remake made its way to the CSGO beta branch, and after much testing/bug fixing, it was made official. Besides being brighter, some of the changes were not liked initially, but we came to understand eventually. Glove skins inevitably came out, SAS models were remade, and later the Phoenix Connexion got something similar. 2017 kicked off with Astralis winning E-League Atlanta, and later Gambit lifting the trophy at PGL Krakow. Canals came out of nowhere, an original Valve map that wasn't bad but not very favorable even after a multitude of reworks to its layout. They tried really hard to make it work, to no avail. The Trust Factor system has been implemented to help filter player behavior. Operation Hydra brought tons new experimental game modes, of which Flying Scoutsman and Wingman remained permanently. This year was a lot more calm, focusing on content and optimizations, nothing much else. 2018, the brand new Panorama UI has arrived. I think we can all agree it's more spacious and easier to navigate. Here's a depressing update. Due to the high queues and lack of interest, Militia, Aztec, Dust, Vertigo, and Short Train have been removed from the game. Unfortunate, but it wasn't worth keeping them around, nor trying to fix for now. CSGO released in China officially, Dashahao, Cloud9 won E-League Boston 2018, Negev got slightly reworked with a price reduction, infamous 7-day trade ban on items has been implemented. This completely threw off the entire skin scene. Dust 2 has been remade. It was a bit scary to see how it would turn out. This is, after all, the most popular CS map ever, and thankfully, it turned out good. Later, the lead crew got an HD makeover too. Short Nuke came along for Wingman, a new submachine gun, the MP5 SD. Listen, I love the MP5, I know people really wanted it back, but it's not that much more useful, come on. Well, this year was similar to the last, not the most amount of content, but what we got was fine, I guess. 2019, FBI agents upgraded, MP5 enabled and competitive. The first and only ever Halloween event took place. Dead players become ghosts with the ability to apply graffiti, turn chickens into zombies, and other fun stuff. In the same update, Cobblestone got a spooky makeover and layout reshape that remained afterwards. The first and only meaningful Christmas event, most of the same holiday cheer as before, plus Militia came back with a snowy makeover and decorations. Danger Zone released to the public, initially with only Blacksite, later Sirocco. Soon, more additions included the Exo Jump, Bump Mines, plus other items to make the gameplay faster. Oh, and competitive skill groups. I really enjoyed playing this. Yeah, they were riding the Battle Royale trend, it was still good. Too bad most of the community was focused on hating and complaining. Along with DZ, free-to-play non-prime CSGO is official. A decent amount of vitriol was targeted towards this, partially because obtaining prime status was possible after ranking up to level 21 and yeah, that's not a good idea. Astralis won both IEM Katowice and StarLadder Berlin majors. Economy updated the consecutive round loss bonus. Man, having more money and doing less ecos is such a relief. Vertigo rework made its way to competitive after much testing. This is my favorite remake because they basically took a not so popular whatever map and made it good. New looking to play feature for finding random lobbies with strangers. CS 20th anniversary was celebrated with a retro Dust 2 for casual. I'm being deadass. This, in my opinion, was the best period for CSGO ever. Such an insane amount of updates, fixes, events, maps, and game mode. It's crazy. 2020. Scrimmage mode is unranked competitive, but it only applies to a certain rotation of maps. X-ray package introduced for citizens of France instead of opening cases. For every 3 kills in deathmatch, you now get a health shot instead of using the respawn trick. FMPone's cache rework is now official, visual upgrade is nice, and the gameplay improvements were more or less needed. Operation Shattered Web released. Besides introducing agent skins, the map lunacy remained permanently in war games. Patches, I guess. Boost player contrast to help with long-distance visibility. CSGO Trusted Mode is now the default way of launching and playing the game. Supposedly it was there to prevent preemptively injecting third-party applications into the client, but I think that was easily circumvented. Fixed, removed, optimized, yeah, that's about what this year was. I want to mention that at this point, the player base has started to dramatically increase. I understand CS has never been better, but I still have no idea what exactly sparked such interest. 2021, Operation Broken Fang brought a myriad of content, some becoming permanent. Premiere mode, competitive but with a pigman structure, we all know this. Retakes is a fast-paced game mode for practicing intense situations. Pick a custom loadout and either defend or defuse the bomb. Brand new map Ancient, a spiritual successor to Aztec. Pings for those too lazy to communicate. The detailed stats would have been cool to keep, but was instead turned into a $1 subscription service. Bad move, Valve. New chicken models. They look prettier and more in line with the current art style. Free-to-play accounts no longer can get prime, ranks, drops, nothing. Yeah, just how it should have been. Scrimmage replaced with unranked for all maps. A rather empty year, most of the stuff came from the now annual operation. Yeah, I know, COVID pandemic was in full swing, probably affecting many things. 2022, Operation Riptide. Let's see what it brought us. Private matchmaking queues, short competitive matches, 16 rounds instead of 30, I really missed this. Deathmatch can now be played in 3 ways, classic, team, and free-for-all. Demolition got shortened in a few ways, who cares? Health shot can now be acquired at 3 kills in arms race. Riot Shield can now be purchased in hostage mode, it's not indestructible though. Droppable nades, some people thought this was rather unnecessary, but honestly kinda cool. Navi 1PGL Stockholm, FaZe Clan 1PGL Antwerp, and that's it. Feels just as empty. I hope you're starting to see a pattern. 2023, the Danger Zone map Ember got a Halloween makeover. How cute. Outsiders claimed victory at ESL Rio 2022, Team Vitality won Blast TV Paris 2023, Anubis has been stuck permanently in the map pool, and the very last CSGO patch note from August 31st, 2023 reads, recent ranked matches in your matches menu will now show competitive, wingman, and premier matches. Then poof, it's gone. CSGO? More like CS no more. Yeah, it's obvious the last few years had less and less updates, most being delivered in operations, and I think it's because they were slowly shifting work towards CS2. So, was CSGO good and worth it? Statistically, going from peak 12,000 players to daily 1 million plus is impressive, and part of it wouldn't have been possible without the community and pro feedback. From a more critical standpoint, I believe a lot more could have been done, but let's not delve into such tangents right now. I know my coverage was based on mostly the important tidbits that evolved CSGO, leaving out a lot of other details, but covering every map change, weapon balancing, or cosmetic would take forever, and have been rather redundant. Regardless, it was an amazing ride. I used to not believe at all in CSGO, but over time, Valve did prove a lot, and I'm pretty sure CS2 will follow suit. There will be great times, and there will be bad times. That's all rather inevitable. Alright, this was a tad bit exhaustive, so I'm gonna go clean behind my fridge. I'm not physically tired, so time for a change of pace.